Hello everyone, so tonight I'm going to be talking about the CH Die Company Swag-o-matic or Swag-o-matic. There will be a link to this in the description, as well as to some other useful information. This is a scan of an old instruction thingies for it from back in the day. And this I'm going to be talking about what it does and what it doesn't do, basic assembly of it, making sure you got all the parts, and then I'm going to actually swage some wire cores like it's supposed to be done with. A lot of the parts for it are kind of hard to find these days, so people use other stuff. Like I've used just bullets from the reject bin or whatever for the lead. But then here on the half jackets, I'm going to be also doing some just regular gas checks. The half jackets are kind of hard to find, but we'll get to that. And also, I'm going to put a, what do you call it, like a skip to menu, like a link to all the different parts of the video for if you don't want to watch the assembly again or whatever. But, no. Let's get to what it does and the parts and stuff. Okay, so it is meant to be used with these, they're called half jackets. When I first got this equipment about 10 years ago when I got it, I thought they were just kind of tall gas checks, but if you think about it, a jacket ain't nothing but a full-length gas check anyway. And you take these, put them in there, and then swage them down, and you come out with pretty nicely and fairly uniformly swaged bullets of whatever kind. This is a wad cutter, of course, and a semi-wad cutter. And if you really wanted to, you could swage a plated bullet into something else if you want to make a round nose into a wad cutter, but that was just because I was running out of things to do with it. What it can't do is do things like swage a brass case into a jacket or any of that stuff. I briefly tried because I heard you could do stuff like that, but no, all I did was mash up a case. These are really only for taking bits of lead and squishing them into shapes of other pieces of lead. I've used stuff like this a number of times, just kind of see what happens. These are not perfectly formed cast bullets. And alright, so now let's get with the assembly. Okay, so if you have the instructions and you're following along, this will be parts A, B, C, and D, which is the bullet punch lock bolt. This is the bullet punch lock bolt. This right here, the large part, is the bullet nose punch holder, and the lock ring for it, just like on a thing. And here's the punch, and the way to attach the punch is you place it in there and screw it onto the bolts. Now I'm actually going to be using a semi-wad cutter and not a regular wad cutter. So this is also how you would change punches. When screwed in like that, take the spanner wrench, put it on here just to hold it in. Take a 1/2 inch ratchet, socket wrench, or whatever you want to call it, and you unscrew it like that. And of course, to screw it back in, you do the reverse. And it doesn't need to be super tight, just enough to hold it on there. Okay, so now we have the punch assembly fully assembled. Then to attach it, you simply screw it in just like a normal reloading die. And the lock ring, I'm not going to put that on yet because it does need to be precisely indexed to the amount of lead. It's similar to when you're seating a bullet. You have to have it pretty precise, so I'm not going to lock the lock ring, but that's it for this top part. We have the ram here just like on a reloading press. And here, this is the die itself. This is the ejector punch, and I don't know how to remove this from there, so I'm not going to. And the ram is a real pain in the ass to take in or out, so I'm just not messing with that for this. And on the die, you will see there's this little hole. When you're squishing all that lead down, there's a vent hole for some lead to come out. You kind of need that, so make sure this hole is lined up with the hole on the side of there. And this pin right here, what this does is, there's this slot in there, and this, the ejector pin goes down in the middle, and as it's going down, the ejector pin contacts this cross pin and pushes it back up. Observe. See, you'll go up and swage it, and then as it comes down, hits the pin and ejects the bullet. And to assemble this, just needs a little tug. Okay, so I'm going to do a couple first with the gas checks. And these lead pieces that I'm using, they're not precise. I just kind of eyeballed them, and most of them are in the 141 to 42 and 43 grain area. One important note when reassembling this is you may want to put a safety pin or paper clip in there, because the hole will turn as you screw it in, and then you will not have a vent hole, and you don't want to not have a vent hole. So let's keep our vent hole clear and make sure that you have it aligned with the hole there. Okay, in this first round I'm going to be doing with just a gas check. I'm not going to be using the half jackets just yet. I'm kind of doing this just to see how it does. And ideally, you would want it so just a tiny bit of lead comes out through the vent hole, but not too much. Okay, and this is not going down far enough. Okay, so you can see right here that you see it's like it's growing. Let's see, what did we get out of there? Okay. Apparently it was the wad cutter, not semi-wad cutter I put in there, but that's okay. I think it's pretty close to being indexed. Back it up a little bit because I'm going to be putting in the half jacket now. Are you guys able to see this? Okay, so piece of lead goes in the jacket, goes up into the punch, squeeze the shit out of it. Whoa, that is too much lead. However, that should kind of even out some of the differences in the weight, because I just kind of eyeballed it when I cut them. It was too far down. So I'm going to back it up just a notch. Then I'm going to be weighing these in a moment to see how uniform the weights came out. Okay, then we just got a little bit of lead coming out. That's better. That's what we want. A little bit more coming out because it just, the pressure sits on it and squeezes it out. You can kind of see it crawling. The manual recommends taking 2 passes. And nothing more happening. And this starts off at 141. Not a whole lot coming out. Okay. So now this one weighs 152, just like the other one. Let's try one more, because these half jackets are so easy to find these days. I can just burn through them all night and never find them again for the rest of my life. Probably can't see, there's just like a tiny bit coming out through the vent. Oh. Okay, so we have produced some these happy little fellows made. Let's check the weights on all of them. .4, 143.4. That first one was just with a gas check. 151.9. 151.9. Oh, I know. I had one stack that was about 150, and then the other ones were the 140s, and that particular one was the 140. That is why there was the difference. These guys, I separated them by weight, and I forgot that when I was doing this. So that's just about it as far as what I know that you can do with a Swag-o-matic press. If you know how to use these things better than me, please let me know. I'm obviously not the best person at these, but there's no one else out there trying to explain in video form how these things work. I got most of the information I got from the Cast Bullets web forum, which is a very good source of information for anything Cast Bullets related. For the past 10 years or so, that's always where I've gone, because that's, you know, Cast Bullet enthusiasts are very knowledgeable people on the subject of Cast Bullets for some reason. So, hope this was helpful. If it wasn't, subscribe to my channel anyway, and have a good evening.